Hey, you. How you doing? It's good to see you. I'm sorry I'm late. I hope I didn't keep you waiting too long, did I? Okay, good. Oh, no problems. I'm sorry. I got a call and I lost track of time. It's not a good excuse. But it is a good story. Yeah, you will not believe who had the gall to call me. No. Okay, do you remember me telling you about a guy I dated who was a lumberjack? Like, biceps bigger than my head. It was kind of intimidating, actually. The one that Tim set me up with. Oh, no. That was Timmy. He would never. No, that's Timothy. No, not Jimothy. Timothy. No, that one is Jim. Okay, yes, that one. Okay, So Tim and I go out to a bar together about 6 months ago. We're just going to catch up because we used to work together at the old ad agency I was at, but since that place went out of business, we haven't seen each other. So we're going to just catch up and, chit-chat. So I go with Tim. We're hanging out at this bar. It's cool. It's still early, not a lot of people there. It's just casual. There's a guy at the end of the bar who is beautiful. I mean, beautiful. This guy was so built. He had such a chiseled jaw. He had such perfect features. He had the most piercing blue eyes and blonde hair. And I usually go for like the dark eyes, dark hair, but still, he was beautiful. I'm trying not to look, because, it's a gay bar. I'm not fishing in this pond, right? And it would be rude to be staring at this guy. Doesn't matter. He's caught me looking, but I look away. We're all good. I'm not being a creep, right? Chatting with Tim for a little while, I go off to the little ladies' room. When I come back, Tim is sitting with this guy, so I think he and Tim are hitting it off, right? Tim says to me, "Have you met David?" Now, Tim knows I haven't met David. Tim knows that he's the one who invited me to this bar because it wasn't open 2 months earlier. It's a gay bar, and it's in his town. Tim knows that he's the one who has introduced me to this bar and now to this beautiful young man, right? Right. So David sits down with us, and David is flirting heavily. At first, I was able to imagine that he was just, being friendly. I thought he was making a move on Tim, and he was hoping to get to him through me, which was a little silly because he had already made the move on Tim, right? Now, it becomes increasingly obvious that I'm the one he's interested in. I mean, I'm not complaining. He's not the first guy in a gay bar to give me his digits. In fact, more often than not, if I go to a gay bar, somebody gives me his number. I know, right? You would think. But I'm telling you, let me go to a lesbian bar? Nothing. The only time I've ever come home with a woman from a lesbian bar was when I went there with a woman to the lesbian bar. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Maybe it's just that bisexual men are enthusiastic to date a chick who's cool with dating a bisexual guy, whereas lesbians, they're more in tune to the fact that I put out more red flags than a Fenway Park gift shop. Fenway Park? The Boston Red Sox? Yes, Diamond City. Okay, so anyway, Tim introduces me to David, who is hitting on me hard, right? And Tim is encouraging this because he wants the vicarious experience of dating this Adonis. Before we leave, Tim is checking and double checking to make sure we have each other's digits, right? At this point, he's gone beyond wingman and he's bordering on procurer of women, if you know what I mean. But it's all good. I get the guy's number. He texts me the next day and asks me if we could get together for coffee. That sounds great. Coffee is a good first date, don't you think? I think it lets you get to know each other a little bit without having the pressure of a date. So anyway, when I arrive, he's already there. He's got his chin in his hand and he's looking like he's dozing. I sit down, he opens his eyes, looking a little bleary-eyed, but he's coherent, right? He's not seeming like he's slurring his words, he's not seeming drunk or stoned, just kind of out of it. Just tired. We're chatting, we're hitting it off. At some point, he gets up to go use the bathroom. At least we're compatible there. We both have tiny bladders, it seems. It's bad enough that when he goes off, the waitress comes and talks to me for a second and said, "Is he okay?" I said, "So far as I know." She says, "Well, he was kind of swaying when he came in, and it looked like he did it on the way to the bathroom." I say, "Okay." She says, "He's not driving, is he?" I don't actually know. I mean, he could have come by public transport, he could have come by car. So I have no idea. He gets out of the bathroom and he comes back toward me. He walks a straight line, but there's one point where he kind of puts his hand out and touches the back of one of the seats of the counter. That's the closest he comes to being off balance that I can see, and even that, he could have been just touching it as he walked past, just touching it. I do that all the time. I don't know if he's drunk or stoned or just tired at this point. I have no idea. And first date, coffee date seems a little bit early to be talking about, hey, do you have a drinking problem? Are you stoned in the middle of the day, right? I don't know. So we finish up our coffee, we finish our danishes. We've lingered over this for a while, and I'm also trying to make it play out in case he is drunk. At least I'm giving him time for the coffee to get through his system. He seems kind of okay. I wouldn't have actually thought anything about it if she hadn't mentioned something to me. I would have thought he was just tired. So now I'm thinking, yeah, he's probably just tired and I don't know what she's on about. So now I've got my excuse to not have an awkward conversation with a guy who's way cute that I don't really know. We head out and he wants to walk me to my car. Okay, I like that. It turns out that he's parked just 2 spaces away from me. So I'm still there. I'm checking my messages when he pulls out. But I'm also in the back of my mind keeping an eye out for which direction he goes and how well he's driving. Because at this point, I have a responsibility to see something, say something, right? Even if I'm going out of my way a little bit to try and see something. He pulls out straight into a Porsche behind him. I mean, not bad, just kisses the bumper. It looks like the Porsche was okay, but he still definitely bumped into that Porsche. No, he didn't stop. He didn't look behind him. He didn't check to see if it was okay. He just went. I know. So now I'm thinking, is he just a jerk? Is it possible that it only looked to me like he kissed the Porsche? Or is it that he didn't feel that he'd kissed the Porsche? I don't know. But I do know that across the street, a police officer had just stepped out. He had clearly seen David pull into this Porsche, right? And he's on his radio. So okay, no longer my problem. Not my circus, not my monkeys. If this guy is drunk, they will know about it soon enough, and they'll handle it. So, I'm waiting to see if I ever hear from this guy, right? Right. Right, it was just a coffee date. Anything could have happened, you know? He might not have been interested in me, or, he could have to stay home for a while because he's lost his license, or he can't afford to go out on any dates for a while because he's got to pay to have a Porsche's bumper repainted, right? I don't know if I'm going to hear from him. But I do. The very next day, he wants to go out that weekend. Nope, he didn't mention it at all. Not a word. For all I know, they stopped him, gave him a breathalyzer, he's perfectly sober, right? I'm still not certain that he was drunk, or stoned, or whatever. He asks me out on that weekend. I agree to go out with him on the weekend. I was less uncertain when I met him the next time. Oh, he was trashed. We had agreed to meet up at the bar where we first met, and he was 3 sheets before I got there. He gave me the old, "Oh, I've only had 2 drinks" story, but he was a big guy, and he was trashed. Oh no, I still went out with him. I just made sure that I was driving. Turned out it was just as well, because he'd actually been dropped off there. Oh, for sure, for sure. I absolutely respect somebody who makes sure they've got a designated driver before they go out drinking. That wasn't what this guy was doing. I don't know what he was doing, but he wasn't just planning on having a designated driver. Oh, I know, because when we went out to go to dinner, he wanted to drive my car. Said it was the gentlemanly thing to do. He tried to be insistent about it. Like, "Oh, I've got to drive. It wouldn't be right of me to let you drive. As a man, I've got to drive, blah, blah, blah." Okay, yeah, okay. Not the first red flag, but certainly the first red flag that I recognized. So, oh, no. I told him it was a non-starter, that the car was in my dad's name and my dad's insurance, and he would kill me. Oh, he absolutely told me that my dad didn't have to know. But I told him that, God forbid somebody hits us, my father would find out that way. He let it drop. Oh, no. It's not my father's name. That was just the first of many lies I told that night in order to politely manage his expectations. So we go out to dinner, and he is a happy drunk. I will give him that. He is a very happy drunk. He's a very affectionate drunk. Oh, no, I mean, he wasn't being handsy. He would do things like, brush my hair away from my shoulder, touch my collarbone, just trace his finger on my shoulder, hold my hand and rub his thumb across my finger. I know, it's so hot when the guy is sober. But not gonna lie, it was hot even while he was drunk. And when he kissed me, oh, he did that thing where he puts his hand on the back of my neck and just pulls me toward him, and it was so delicious. I mean, it was partly delicious because the whiskey sour he'd been drinking, but also because what a hot spot the back of the neck is. Holy moly. Yeah. So anyway, he's been fun. He's really complimentary. He keeps talking about how beautiful my eyes are and how clever and how funny and how charming I am. He loves my hair. My skin is so soft. Like, he keeps laying on the compliments to the point where it got awkward. But still, having come out of a relationship with a guy who never complimented me, it was a refreshing change, even if it was all at once. So, dinner was actually pleasant. The kiss at the end of dinner was pleasant. We got into the car, into my car, and he doesn't want to go home yet. He wants to go hang out on the beach and just watch the waves and chat for a while. And so we do. And we kiss some more. And it's nice, even if he's drunk. He is nice. We are telling each other about our lives. We're telling each other about our likes and our dislikes. And he tells me he loves me. Yeah. I know. I told him, that's really sweet to hear, but he couldn't possibly love me. He doesn't know me. I think my first reaction was to laugh and tell him, you don't even know my last name. He used it as an opportunity to ask my last name and my middle name. I was half expecting him to ask my mother's maiden name next, but no. Then he's going on about how he loves me using my full name, first, middle, and last, and can we just leave my middle name out of this? What? I'm not going to tell you that. Because I just said, can we leave my middle name out of it? That's the exact opposite of leaving my middle name out of it. Yeah, anyway, so now he's telling me he loves me along with all of these compliments, and I said that I have to go. I told him I have to go home. My father will be expecting me home. No, I don't live with my father. He says, just a few more minutes. I say, okay, a few more minutes, 15 minutes has passed. I say, okay, I really need to go home. He said, another 15 minutes. I said, I really need to go home. My father's older. He needs me. I need to help him. He says, your father will be okay. I said, my father would end us both. And I didn't want to ask him of that. And I'm not ready for that. I'm not that kind of girl, I said. Well, of course I am, but I've also lost track of how many lies I've told him at this point. I also don't live with my father, and he doesn't have his name on my car. Oh yeah, my father's in perfect health, thank you. He doesn't need any help from me. I also told him I have to go because I have to work early in the morning. And I'm going to be tired. It would not be safe for me to drive in that state. Here I am trying to give him a subtle message about not driving while you're not alert, right? He says, can I go to work with you tomorrow? I said that would not be appropriate in the office that I work in. He says, well, I'll wait in the car. I know. Crazy. The guy is not rational. So I finally get him to agree to get back in the car. I was having trouble getting him back in the car. I had to threaten to leave him there. He gets in the car. Now he's all pouty because I threatened to leave him at the beach. But me being a mean, insensitive, uncaring woman didn't detract him from his love for me, right? No, that would be too easy. So he starts giving me directions to his house. And the further we go, the more I'm getting nervous that Tim has told this guy where I live. Because he lives in the next neighborhood over from me. He was like a mile away from me. But finally, I get him to his house. We pull up into some really normal-looking suburbs, and I let him out. And here is the crazy coup de grace. He says, I'm just going to take the key to my house. I'm going to leave the rest of my keys and my wallet in your car. That way, you have to come back tomorrow to give them back to me. What I say I said, "Okay, honey, see you tomorrow." And then I drove around the block and came back 5 minutes later. And I did not even slow down as I threw his keys and his wallet out the window and onto his driveway. Oh, I blocked his number and never went back. I don't appreciate being manipulated. Especially not so ham-handedly. I mean, at least try to be subtle. That was just insulting my intelligence. Oh, no, I blocked his number. I blocked him everywhere. Spoke to Tim? Turned out Tim had never seen him before or since. The guy just asked for an introduction when I went to the bathroom. Oh, okay, yes, about today, that's right. I was late here today because I was distracted. I switched phone companies. And when I did, I didn't think that I needed to transfer the blocked numbers. I mean, there weren't a lot of them. And if I thought about it, I would have figured anybody I blocked, it would have been so long ago that I don't have to worry about it now, right? I mean, they clearly would have stopped trying to reach me by now. Well, not crazy drunk guys. He called. Oh, I picked up. I didn't recognize the number and I was expecting a call from a new client, so I just answered. And it was him. He said that he'd been trying to reach me for so long and he didn't know what was wrong with my phone. And he missed me and he loved me and yada, 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 yada. All the crazy stuff still. I have no idea what I'm gonna do about him now. I'm just gonna see how it goes and figure it out after our date this weekend. Hey, you guys. How was that for a horror story, huh? And that one wasn't even just based in truth. In all honesty, I didn't even change the guy's name because Dave. Who am I protecting if I change the name Dave? It's it's too common a name. And in all honesty, I think it's really safe to assume that that man does not remember me. He might have a vague recollection of having once gone on a date with a chick who threw his wallet and his keys onto his driveway at the end of the date, but that's maybe he doesn't even remember that. I don't know. Because in all honesty, never unblocked that man, never took the risk that he could get in touch with me again. Thank God he didn't know where I lived, and I did worry about going past that neighborhood for the next year that I lived in that area. I was always concerned I was going to see him or he was going to see me passing by. But again, the longer the time went, I was convinced he wouldn't recognize me. He wouldn't remember me because he was so verstuckened. He was so drunk. So, with the exception that I never spoke to him again after that, that was an entirely true story. And still not the worst date I've ever been on. So, thank you all very much for listening to me and sharing my pain and for your empathy and for your likes and your views and your subscriptions and your shares and your comments and all of that. Also, while I'm saying thank you 3 times over to Dan Ganning Fan 2846 for the super thanks. And thank you to Christian Kaleapa 8834 for the super thanks. You guys are so helpful and so kind and so generous and so sweet. Thank you to the Y Rider for the throne gifts. And And thank you to my patrons, those little gremlins who are going to try to make me laugh as I read off their names. Let's see how they do. Okay. Thank you to Persona, Marchfuel, Skada99, Shizuka Lynx, Slade Anthony Bates, Jesse James's severed hand holding a fish magnet while attached to a golf ball retriever. I actually thought I wouldn't laugh at that because I'd seen it before. Thank you to Kai, Eric, John Bon Jovi, Match, Stuart Chilton, Atlas462, Nathan Histed, Sheep Sheppo, Aiden S., Curious Jorge, Basilisk Payne, Deep Fried Vibes, E. Hazasho, Goose, L, John Kebab, Eli, MCH Main, Salty Loganissa, Hungry Hippo, Gilberto Riquero, Alex Willette, Quincy Jones, Adam, Kobe Ewing, Killswitch Engage, Old Bean UK, Jonesy, The Biogender, King Kylie, 21, Kira Agreste, George Thurn, Anonymous, Chris Arctic Penguin 92, Duke is here, Kalua Bear, Titan O'Grady, Jesse, Kolek 92, Braulio Vargas, KJW, Sean, Wylen, Seth the Mess, Sir Ramington, Kaguzo, Nick, Synergy 12, Forces times Pierce equals Fierce 5 ever. Raptor, Dreamy's Favorite Llama, Benedict's 9, Ironhead 333, Anzu Wiley, Nick Roberts, Cody, Nachtwahia, Emperor of Mankind, Skull, Yuri Boygon, We Beg Goy Epic, Mike, Fit External, Cherry Was Script, y recuerden, niños, rabbits en español se dice conejos. That's Art Lowe. He's a troll. And Jules, Solitary Surreal, Pierce the Heavens, Red Bow, Jacketeer, Adrian Hesslinger. This audio is sponsored by Hetty's Mobile Toddler Daycare. We have an egg corner, an arson corner, and a corner plotting. And a corner for plotting more. Tombury Shuffle, Christian Kalepa'a. You thought you actually caught a break, didn't you? And Marius Darkwolf. Thank you all. Oh, and thank you all for listening this far. Please be as good to yourselves as you are to me. And that goes for you little troll gremlins. And I will talk to you tomorrow.